Excuse me, my mic just slipped. Good evening and welcome to Ufrl Tier 3 Race 2 at Miami. Hopefully we'll be getting a nice race after the carnage that ensued last night. Those that haven't checked the announcement in the server, please check that. But we're going to move on from that and enjoy the race this evening. We should have 18 in the lobby from what I've just glanced at the that we just glanced at the Discord at the attendance. So I am just seeing who's missing. Well, unfitted noise can't heal, so that's 17. Sound off, but come on. Oh, your sound off, Brett, or my sound? So yeah, we're just waiting for the lobby to fill up. I believe we're possibly waiting for one more driver, but unfitted noise, I'm not sure how he can unfitted noise in the lobby, but I'm not sure how he can. If you just bear with me a moment, just whilst I sort this issue out. Apologies. Apologies about that. I was just making sure I got that message in. So yeah, I believe we're just waiting for one more. So we have Mrs. Poem in the Alpha tonight, and she's partnering with Ray. Then we have the Aston Martin of Lewis and the Tier 3 champ last year, Levi. Then we have the Ferraris, my teammates of Pro Beast and Grey. And then in the Alpines we have, or in the Soul Alpine I think, we have CPL arsehole. The AlphaTauri driver is Harvey. And we're just waiting. Sorry, I'm just reading something in Discord. I'm just trying to sort out unfitted noise, but again, I'm just going to leave the loop video for you whilst I sort this out. Just don't want to have you guys racing against the wrong people or someone not able to get in, so just bear with me. Right, so this time I am back for good. Gonna let the powers that be sort that out. But yeah, we got 16 cars at the minute. Please can the person in the Discord, I can't remember who it was, Enderupt I think it was, not leave it till 8 o'clock to say wait for me? We opened the lobby at 7:30 for a reason, because now everyone's wasting their time waiting. That's why the lobby's open half an hour early, so you don't have to fanny about at the last minute to get in. Rant over. So I believe, looking at the Discord, it was, where is it? Tier 2 race results. There we go. Wrong one, because this is Tier 3, of course. Race results. Russian Destroy won, and then Ray was second, and Harvey was third. Then we had King Luke, Levi Hughes, Sergeant Coffee, the Captain, Eyeball Paul, Jay Francis, and 50 Gent in the top 10. So, we're just waiting for Adaz Enderupt. Right, apologies for that. I've been distracted trying to sort out unfitted noise. As he says, cheers to me. Not sure if that's a dig, but that's the rules. I'm sorry, you can't make exception on the rules. And then the fresh meat chat is also piping up, so yeah, got a headache before the races even started. So looking forward to some good racing at Miami tonight, as we have, the timer did go on then for 29 seconds. So we have 17 cars tonight. Mrs. Poma's readied up, so that's usually an indication that we're good to go. We're already 10 minutes late because of the faffing around. Right, so that's all sorted. So can we ready up, guys? Because it's 10 past the hour. There we go. We'll bring you some live racing. Right, so welcome to Ufrl. Ironically, we pride ourselves on pace-based tiers. If you've seen the Discord, you'll understand. Reach out for a Discord link if you're not already in the server. And of course, thank you for watching. So, qualifying just begun, Q1. Just getting a quick drink. As the Alpine is coming out, and so is the Aston Martin. Let's bring up the spectator menu. Format. Best. Right. So, CPL Arsehole, the first car out. 17 cars on track tonight. Good to see some sunshine in the Sunshine State. Hopefully it stays that way for the race. Just a quick reminder that we still have spaces in most of our tiers, so if you're not yet assigned a seat, reach out to us, and pending a trial if necessary, or if you've already passed your trial, we'll get you placed. We're looking for Saturday drivers for our Super Sprint Series as CPR so starts their first push lap, and of course our International Series later in the evening. But there is still a few seats scattered about rather from tiers 1 to 4 as the Alpine makes its way into the S's. So what do the chat think will be a good qualifying time for the tier 3 guys? There's no game song, Usain Bolt says. Should be. Maybe let me turn it up a bit. Is that better? I feel like that might be too loud now. I lowered it down a bit so you could hear me a bit clearer. Maybe your TV's a bit on the quiet side, Usain Bolt, as CPR so comes down the back straight. Mickey says that's better as well. I'll just have to talk a bit louder. Just trying to fine tune it. Cheers John, that's better. Good. Right. The consensus seems to be it's better, so we'll stick with that. As the Alpine is coming along. And the Alpine pops in a 1:38.8 as Dangerous Dave goes in with a 33.9. He'll have to go again. And Sainsy in with the 1:30.2. a Sergeant Coffee with a 1:46. He obviously had a spin somewhere. It's King Luke. Now goes the fastest with a 1:38. Go on board with Enderupt, late to the server, late to the race. He's invalidated, so we'll come away and go on board with Mrs. Poem, who we will skip by because she has on her outlap. Go on board with Eyeball Paul in the Red Bull coming down the back straight. So Eyeball Paul, one of the faster drivers in my opinion in this tier, is the first into the 29s, a 29.6. So we're going to come away and go, oh, what was that? Was that a car in the wall? No, it wasn't. We go on board with Mrs. Poem through the S section. As Mickey says, track looks good, dry. Yeah. Yeah, no comment. In the words of Jose Mourinho, I prefer not to speak. So the chicane navigated by Mrs. P. So Mrs. P just coming around the penultimate corners. Yeah, Nick, it's Miami all week, called the different tiers of racing at the same track. So Mrs. P pops in a 1:31.3. Go on board with F1 Pro Beast in the Ferrari. So Pro Beast just working his way through the tricky S section of the track where you can keep full throttle-ish. You may have to lift a little bit round this bit, and you're on the power, and then you're through the long flowing S section as Pro Beast goes purple in sector 1 in the Ferrari. Getting as close to that wall as he dare before he slams on the brakes. Slows the car down. Maybe lost a little bit of time there actually, Pro Beast. You come through the chicanes and then you're round the sharp left-hander, and now you're down the back straight. Maximum power. He's gone purple in sector 2 as well, according to the game. But he was doing this to me last night. He was saying people were going purple in sector 2 or sector 1, and they just weren't. It was just EA lying to me. But this is looking pretty quick from Pro Beast. Power down now. Is it going to be good enough to challenge Eyeball Paul? It's good enough for P3 from Pro Beast as Ray pops in a 1:29.7 to split them. So we're on board with Enderupt. And Enderupt clips the wall, it looks like there, and then it bouncing all around the chicane. And now he's down the back straight. It says he's gone purple, but it looked like he bounced around. But anyway, in the Williams comes Ender up round the final corner as we have 9 minutes left of Q1. And Ender up now, got the power down. Where's this going to place him? It's good enough for P1. Ender up with a 1:29.2 in the Williams. That's a bit of a statement lap. So, going to go on board with the Tier 3 champ from last season, Levi Hughes. In the Aston Martin this year. I believe he was in a McLaren or maybe even a Mercedes last season. I think it was Mercedes actually. In Tier 3, as he's now got the sprint towards the line, but he's boxing. So we'll come away from Levi. Go on board with the captain coming down the back straight. So the captain is going to box as well, I believe. So go on board with Dangerous Dave, who is on his outlap. So we'll stay with him for this push run, as he has traffic ahead. Hard to see who that is. That'll be the Haas of Dan M, I believe. Just ahead of him on track, but well clear of him for now. Red Bull hooking it up beautifully through the S section there. Nicely done. Power down. As Dave improves by 1/10 in his first sector. Just keeping it together now. He's got to navigate the tricky chicane. I don't want to take too much sausage curve, but Dave does well there. Dangerous Dave around, and now he's got the power down. He's up by 5/10. So this is going to be a good lap, as long as he can hold it together on this final corner, and hopefully that Haas doesn't impede him, because he's on a stonking lap here, Dave. And now it's just a drive to the finish line for Dangerous Dave, and he's going to do a 1:29 with some change. It's going to be good enough for P6, just squeaks into the 1:29. So we'll go on board with the Aston of F1 Lewis, Ufrl Lewis. So Lewis just coming down the back straight. So just grabbing a quick drink. As Lewis pops in a 1:30.26. So we'll go on board with El Grey, who is up on time in the Ferrari. Just coming very quickly through that chicane there. That was quite impressive through there. But only just up on time. As we have 5 minutes of Q1 remaining, and we will lose 2 cars at the end of this session. But I'd like to remind the drivers not to leave the race and try and come back later. Just stay in the lobby, just to not risk, as El Grey goes into P14, so it's Sergeant Coffee on the bubble. Mrs. Poem and Levi Hughes, the ones below the line at the minute. So we'll go on board with Sergeant Coffee actually, who is down on time, so he is going to have to box and go again. Can Mrs. Poem improve? Come away from Mrs. P and go on board with Levi Hughes, yet to set a time. Coming through the chicane now. Purple sector for Levi Hughes in the Aston. A little bit of maybe a lockup, or definitely didn't click that apex as he would have wanted, so would have definitely surrendered some time there. But he is going to go into P7. But I think everyone from Lewis down may have to go again. Lewis and Sainz may get away with it, and Harvey. But I think that they would be silly not to go again. I'd be going again. So on board with El Grey, who's 5 seconds down. So we're going to come away and go on board with Sainz. So Sainz just coming down the long flowing back sector of track. This reminds me of Jeddah through here. I don't know if it reminds anyone else through of Jeddah. So into the flowing part of the track you leave, and then you're going to hit the chicane, and then you're going to do this tight left-hander, and it's all about your exit here. Get down on the power as early as possible. And Sainz is slowing down, preparing himself for another push lap. Then is Sainz. Mrs. Poem and is coming out. We'll go on board with. We'll go on board with Harvey. He's well up on his time. So Harvey just coming round the long flowing right hand, or the sharp tightening right hander rather, and then just navigate the chicane. Beautifully done from Harvey. And then you're on the power early, like so. And now it's just a charge to the finish for Harvey. The captain didn't feel safe, so the captain went out. King Luke does feel safe, however, as does Levi. So Harvey's going to go in with a fastest lap, 1:29.1 for Harvey. What a lap! So we're on board with the captain, who is invalidated and down on time. Mrs. Poem is in the pits, so Mrs. Poem's going to be out of quali. So on board with the man who's about to be eliminated unless he can improve here. Can Sergeant Coffee improve on time? A little bit of a lock up into that turn, into turn 9. And now he's into the 12-13 chicane. Round past the tight left-hander. He's up on, Kofi is up on time. So, hi Bucky, alright mate. So Kofi is up on time here. So, oh, he's ran wide. Kofi's ran wide and he spun. So that's going to be Kofi out of qualifying. He isn't going to improve. So by the barest of margins, El Grey is going to squeak through and down. Yeah, Team Ferrari representing in the chat. So the checkered flag has fallen. Not sure why CP Arsehole's out, burning up rubber. Dangerous Dave the same. Captain's out, but with Sergeant Coffee spinning, there'll be no time. There'll be no time to improve, as El Grey should come into the pits, but gonna continue. and is P14, so would have squeaked through anyway. It would have been interesting if Coffee didn't split, if Dan got off the hook there. So, just waiting for CPR Sol to giggle every time I see that name. Just to come across the line, and now it's going to be a charge to the finish. Oh no, he's going to box. So we're just going to cruise into the pit lane. So that is the end of Q1 there. And Mrs. Poem and Sergeant Coffee are the ones sadly departing at Q1. The other 15 will advance to Q2, where we will now lose 5 drivers before the top 10 shootout. So, as Bucky says, he had a really fun race for 27 laps and it all went downhill. Well, yeah, I've got PTSD thinking about that race last night. So, we are at the start of Q2. And again, I'd just like to remind you to follow the channel if you haven't. And if you're kind enough, please subscribe. It all goes reinvested back into the channel and pays for the end of season trophies as Eyeball Paul is able to get back in. So, first car out again is CPL Arsehole. That'll never not be funny. But there's a few cars leaving the pit. So you got CPL, you got Enderup, you got Ray, Sainsy, Levi Hughes, and King Luke. So, Enderupt just coming down the back straight, but we'll go on board with CPL for, as he's going to be the first car across the line. Taking the wide line to sort of sling himself as he's actually boxing. I must have missed some damage as I was glancing away at the football score, so I do apologise at that. We'll go on board with Ender up for take 2. So Ender up squeaking through turn 1. Very wide line. So just coming down the long flowing straight, of course gone purple because he was the first cab off the rank, as it were, after CPL boxed for some wing damage. I did actually see a little bit of wing damage on the floor at the start of that straight, so there must have been contact there, I would assume. So we're just coming through the tightening right-hander into the left and then into the chicane. You can lose a lot of time through this part of the track, and then you're down on the power as early as possible. So what does the chap think? Who is going to get pole based on what you've seen? Ender up comes gliding around that back on. He's a little bit slow there, it seemed, to get on the power on the stream anyway, at least. But he still does a 129.6, so what do I know but Ray into the 128s. What a statement from the Alfa Romeo. 128.7 from Ray. That is a great lap. And then we got Levi Hughesy across into the 130s and sighting the 129.9s. So we're on board with Dan in the Haas for the first time this evening, coming down the back straight. As Eyeball Paul pops in a 128.6. So the time's coming down in Q2. As Dan goes in with a 130.5. Go on board with Ufrl Lewis, who's just started his push lap. Why does it take this away every session? There we go. Apologies that you couldn't see that. In fact, you still can't see it because I just realised that. Just bear with me. The goal be moved. But I didn't do it. Right, sorry about that, guys. Just realised you can't see the timings at the top because of the follow goal, but I don't want to move it and mess up the stream. So Lewis just coming round towards the chicane section. Once again, the tracker's F1 beast puts in a 147 dead. He will certainly have to go again. Down the back straight comes Lewis. So we have 8 minutes remain of Q2, or 9 minutes rather of Q2. Lewis, now it's a drive to the line. Can he slip under the 130 mark? He can't. It's going to be a 130.4. We'll have to go again, no doubt. So we're on board in McLaren. No, we're not. We'll go on board with the sister McLaren of the captain, squeaking into P3 with a 129.4. Good lap from the captain. Let's go on board in the sister Haas of Dan to King Luke, who's gone purple in Sector 1. King Luke going purple in Sector 1. Now, obviously coming through turns 13 and 14, or 12 and 13, forget which way round they are. Now it's power down as he goes purple in sector 2 as well. Does King Luke? This could be a fast one. Yellow flags ahead for a Red Bull. Shouldn't impede his lap though. Now it's just a drive to the line. This is looking very tidy indeed for King Luke. But it's going to be P3. So, lost a bit of time. So, we'll come away from... And we will ride on board with El Grey in the Ferrari. My teammate, of course. El Grey a bit down on time here, you feel, looking at some of the other guys' sectors. Got a McLaren on the racing line. Hopefully the McLaren's seen him over. The captain's not going to impede this lap. The captain does get out of the way, that's fine. For me, that's fine. As El Grey does a 1:31.1. So... I think everyone from Dangerous Dave will probably have to go again, is my opinion. Can any of the drivers that are watching in the stream advise on what the race day conditions are going to be like? So we will go on board with Enderupt when I get there eventually. Who's just starting their second fast lap, so not content with their time. So the Williams is well up on his time. It's saying he's 1.1 up on his time. So this could be very, very quick. As Unfitted Noise says, it's dry. Thank you, Unfitted Noise. Sorry about the confusion tonight. I do apologise for my part in that. Just, I wasn't aware you'd cleared it with Mrs. Poem, that was all. So apologies, and we will see you next week as Enderupt goes fastest with a 1:28.2. What a lap from Enderupt. So back on board with Dangerous Dave in the Red Bull. Dave just coming round the tightening left-hander now. Now Dave just working around the tight left-hander, coming down the back straight. He is up on his previous time. So we have the other flags in sector 2 and now in sector 1, as it looks like a McLaren has gone way off track on the mini map, as WXXRXIP, call him WXX from now on, goes P4. So Dangerous Dave coming through for a, does improve to a 1:29.8. So we shall go on board with Harvey. He was fastest in Q1. He's got a Williams behind him on a fast lap. I don't think he's seen him there. Not Williams, sorry, an Alpine. That could have been a bit tasty. So here we go, on board with Harvey, fastest I believe in Q1, and now coming round turn 1, and now we head towards the right-hander, the long sweeping right-hander before you get to what I've dubbed the S section, and it's just like, how brave can you be before you become stupid and end up off the track here. As you get on the brakes through the tightening left, and you've got the power down, and then you're going through the back, and it does remind me of Jeddah as you go past Hard Rock Stadium on your left. As Pro Beast is out at the chicane and the left-hander, so he will not be participating in Q3. Pro Beast is out. So what's this time looking like for Harvey? Harvey doing a 1:03.552 at the split. And now it's a drive to the line as we've got a minute left of Q2. As Levi Hughes feels relatively safe there. But Harvey's on a fast lap. Levi Hughes could be in danger here. He's already slipped out of qualifying. And Harvey goes into P5 with a 1:29. So Levi Hughes is going to be out, as is Dan, as is El Grey. They're all in the pits. What can Ufrl Lewis do? A fake Baku with car park in the middle of it. And a fake marina. So the Aston coming down. Lewis needs to improve on his time, but he's up by 7:10, so I think Lewis is also going to be out at Q3. So Lewis is going to come through and possibly even box to save his tyre. So Lewis has bolted the lap. So that's going to be your order. It's going to be Pro Beast, Levi Hughes, Dan, Ufrl Lewis, and El Grey out at Q2. So just on board with Sainzy, who will box. No point going round. So there's your top 10 is Enderupt, Eyeball Paul, Ray, WXX, Harvey, King Luke, Dangerous Dave, The Captain, CPL and Sainzy. Yeah, the cars are getting worse, Mr. Pone. Bring back the V8s. Bring back the old days of refueling. Bring it all back. So and then there were 10. So once again, I'd just like to remind you of the open seats. We have a few available, very few left in our flagship tiers, if you like, of Monday to Thursday. Monday tier 1, Tuesday tier 2, Wednesday tier 3, Thursday tier 4. We have very few seats remaining there, but we have some seats still in our international and Super Sprint series. So Super Sprint takes place at 7:30 on a Saturday, with the international tier kicking off at 10 PM. So we are in Q3. We got the Alpine of CPL Arsehole, the McLaren of WXX. I think it's the Williams of Enderupt, the Red Bull of Dangerous Dave, the AlphaTauri of Harvey, the Alfa Romeo of Ray, the sister Red Bull of Eyeball Paul, the Merc of Sainsy, the Haas of King Luke, and the captain in the McLaren. So we got a range of teams. So King Luke out on the outlap first. So we'll go on board with King Luke. So the Haas just coming around the back of the circuit. There you have there, as you go underneath the freeway, as it's called in America. I believe that's a freeway. So here we go, on board with the first push lap of anyone in Q3 Race 2 in UFRL, Miami. So what's the prediction for pole position in the chat? Do we have a prediction time? As the Haas just making its way around the tight sections, we have yellow flags waving down the back straight. It's something to do with Ray going slow, but I believe it's just warming his tyres up for his push lap. So into the harsh braking zone goes the Haas of King Luke. Now it's a long drag down here. And into the hard braking zone comes the King. And now it's just a drive to the line now. And that is a 1:28.8 for King Luke. So a very good, respectable time there for King Luke. Next across the line is going to be CPL, but he's invalidated, so it's actually Sainsy. So now we're on board with WXX. who's just coming down the final corner. And is going to take P2 provisionally with a 1:28.11. Sorry, 1:28.811, should I say. So we'll come away from him and we'll go on board with Ray, who is coming across the line now. So Ray is going to do a 1:28.3, so provisional pole for Ray, as eyeball pole does a 1:28.6. I did miss that, apologies for that. So we're going to go on board with Dangerous Dave, who has a moment coming out the tightening left-hander after the sweeping Essie section. So we'll come away from him because he's lost time. We're going to go on board with CPL, who gets very close to the wall. He's got the Haas on his left. Haas of King Luke just staying well out of harm's way. So, can the Alpine nail this corner and push themselves into contention for pole? CPL coming, and now it's a drive to the line. And it's good enough for 1:28.9. So we'll come away from CPL and we'll go on board with the captain. The captain doing a 32.4 in the first sector. As 5 cars have entered the pits, preparing their cars for the best time to go on track. Will some opt for a double run as Harvey pops in a 1:29.1. So, the McLaren just coming around the back of the circuit now. 1:06 for the captain. We'll stay with him for the onboard this lap, but I don't think this particular lap is going to be challenging for pole. He's actually slowing down as well, so he's preparing himself for a second run or a box. But Dangerous Dave is up on time. He is flying around the back of the circuit, a second up, probably where he had that moment coming out of turn 8, where he got a little bit squeamish for him. So let's see where Dangerous Dave comes after he exits this tightening left-hander. Power down, so he's nearly a second up on his time, but I have seen sectors of 1:03, so I don't think this will be challenging Ray. But eyeball pole coming out as well, so just heating up here in the Miami sun. As Dangerous Dave isn't flat out obviously through there. So Ender up yet to set a lap, so we'll come back to him and go on board with his push lap. We'll go on board with the captain though for now. Captain is down on time by the looks of it. Well down on time. So Ender up going through the tyre warming phase now. So here we go, sector 1, for maximum attack for the Williams. And now down the back, it's the end of the sector, as Mr. Poem called it, a fake Baku. Reminds me of Jeddah, reminds Mr. Poem of Baku, as we have 3 minutes left of qualifying, so this will be a perfect time to remind the drivers of the 5-minute break after qualifying, and we will let you know when it is time to go racing. So ended up just coming down the back straight. He's done a 1:03.67. You can't see it because of the follower goal, which leads me straight into. Thank you for watching our live races. If you haven't, give us a follow and subscribe to the channel as the Williams coming round. This will be quick from Enderupt. Maybe his only attack lap though, but it's good enough for P5. So it's a 1:28.9. Is he going out for a second push lap? He's not. He's going to back out. So on board with the captain, who looks like the captain's struggling to get a lap together here. As Ray is on your provisional pole with a 1:28.3. And you got eyeball Paul. They should all follow out shortly though. So Enderupt has invalidated, but he isn't on a fast lap. We'll go on board with Dangerous Dave. Dangerous Dave was in the 1:29s earlier, maybe even creeped into the 1:28, so definitely some pace there to be had. She comes through the sweeping S's here in Miami. He's up by a second, 1.2 seconds in sector 1 there. And now it's maximum attack as Sainzy has had a moment. The Merc is out of qualifying and will not improve. So Dangerous Day with a McLaren just ahead of him. Is it WXX or is it the captain? This WXX, he needs to get out of the way, but I think it's the captain. It's not the captain, it is WXX, who is flat out himself on a hot lap. I thought he was on an out lap. I read the wrong person. Amateur hour here. So where will WXX, so you can see just ahead, feed in as eyeball Paul comes out on the out lap. So WXX is going to cross the line. Will they improve? Enderupt is out. Enderupt is out. WXX doesn't improve. Dangerous Dave, it goes P7 with a 1:29.1. So 2 people out of qualifying, on board with WXX, who's on a second push lap. In fact, we're going to come away from WXX and go on board with eyeball Paul, who's done a 1:02 in the first sector as the checkered flag falls. So he won't get out, I don't think. It's saying his best time. He didn't get round. I don't know what happened there. Don't think he made it. So Ray is going to be your provisional pole. He is on. So unless WXXRP, who's down on time, can find 5 tenths, Ray is going to be on pole here. What is Dangerous Dave doing? Dangerous Dave is down on time. So this is going to be your grid order. It's going to be Ray, eyeball Paul, WXX, unless they improve it. WXX is up on time, so he may sneak P2, but I don't think he's got enough in the tank for P3, so we'll stay on board with him. He's coming around the last corner now, and he does sneak P2, so it's going to be Ray from WXX, from eyeball Paul, King Loot, Enderupt, Harvey, Dangerous Dave, Sainzy, CPL, and the captain. That is your top 10. So qualifying has ended, and once the next screen changes, I'll just get ready. So qualifying has ended, so just bear with me. I'm just going to put a message into the server. And Mrs. Poem is typing, so Mrs. Poem's obviously doing it. So 9:12 we're gonna go. 9:12. So that is when we shall be going racing. So I'm just going to put you on the Be Right Back screen whilst I use the facilities. Right, I am back, ladies and gentlemen. Right, so just waiting for the time to tick over to 12 minutes past the hour and we will go racing. Right, so it is. Right, so here we are, formation lap of course, with Ray on pole. Just set up all the relevant stuff now, as every car is here and moving away. So, what is the chat's prediction for, as we move down, what is the chat's prediction for this race? Ray was exceptionally fast. Obviously, races can't be won at turn 1. But Ray was exceptionally fast there in quali. Eyeball Paul is always consistent. A couple of drivers I've not seen too much of. But my dark horse for the race is Levi Hughes. I feel Levi has qualified out of position. Can we see tyres? Yes, of course we can. Apologies for that unfitted noise. So, good point actually. So we've got everyone on the hards except for Enderupt, Harvey, Sainsy and Lewis. Thanks. As Ray has spun on the formation lap. And that is how you don't pass your driving test. On the 3-point turn hitting the wall, that'll be a automatic fail. Ray is now getting himself back into the lead. Blush is spared. So, Silent Kofi right at the back. So, thank you to the 14 viewers here tonight. Hopefully you're all subscribed to the channel, and if you're not, please subscribe. At least his title, Iwama says Beaver F1, aka Brett. So we'll just line up on the grid now. Lining up on the grid, and we have got a few DSQs who've overshooting their box, I assume. But we have 4 lights and 5, and a long pause, drive-throughs, jump starts here, jump starts, and away we go. Messy starts here, drive-through penalties, Enderupt. Jumps Eyeball Paul, Ray going backwards off the start. What has happened to Ray? Not the best start. Good evening, Genty. The two in front do have drive-through penalties. They went early. So, Eyeball Paul will be your de facto race leader as Ray is out. Our pole sitter is out of the race. And that is possibly going to be a safety car. Or is it? No safety car at the moment. But these drive-through penalties will not be able to be served under yellow flag conditions, of course. How disappointing is that for Ray? Out the race. So, we've got Enderupt and Eyeball Paul. I believe they both got. As L. Gray picks up a 5-second penalty as well. So, yeah, drive-through penalties for the pair of them. So, under virtual safety car conditions. As we go green, and will they serve their... They should do. I'd serve it now, as Enderup comes flying into the pits, probably discontently shaking his head at what has happened there. Eyeball Paul obviously puts in the fastest lap of the race, but it's under the VSC. Where will Enderup feed out? He's actually not going to feed out in last place, as what has happened. Therefore, Levi Hughes is out. Levi Hughes has DNF'd. My dark horse has DNF'd in the second lap. What has happened there? Was there contact with Lewis? Is Lewis boxing? What is going on? So, Lewis is on track. Weird, it said there was an Aston there. Apologies for that. So, Eyeball Paul is, of course, as Dangerous Dave is out now. What is going on here? Dangerous Dave out of the race. A messy start to tier 3 here. As we are under VSC conditions once more. Safety car doesn't want to come out, says Brett. I think it put too many miles on the clock last night. So John, you missed a jump start from Enderupt and WXXRP, who is yet to serve his penalty and will have to serve it at the end of this lap. Levi Hughes went backwards off the start, so he down into P5 from P1 at turn 1. Ultimately crashing around turn 3, not really sure what happened. Levi Hughes crashed out off stream, and I don't know what happened to Dangerous Dave either, as we've gone green. So WXXRP should be serving his drive-through penalty this lap, but we'll go on board with Harvey in the AlphaTauri, who is a big beneficiary of what has gone on. As El Grey obviously picked up the penalty for ignoring the speed limits. That's alright, John, no worries. I think I covered everything. So, just coming down the back straight with Harvey. Is WXRP going to serve? Yes, they're into the pits this lap. So, Eyeball Paul becomes the race leader as WXX takes a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. He will be seething at that, as CPL is up. King Loop is up, Lewis is up. So, a few beneficiaries off the early drive-throughs. As WXRP is just ahead of Enderup, we're going to go on board with Dan, who is in the closest battle chasing down, looking at the back of the Aston Martin. So we'll stay on board with this because it's the closest battle on track at the moment. Lost a little bit of time there, ran a little bit wide on the exit, so we're going to skip ahead and go on board with King Luke. Does he have the pace to get past the Alpine of CPL? No DRS yet, of course. And there you go, there's the marker. I don't know if CPL is going to be able to defend this. It is very powerful down this straight. And CPL yields, and the Haas gets the move done. So the Haas of King Luke up into P3. Good driving from the pair. Lewis is able to hold off Dan down the DRS straight though, but we'll go on board with Mrs. P, who is coming up the inside of Kofi and gets the move done. Mrs. P up into P12. So we'll go back on board with Dan. Back. So we're going to go on board with CPL, see if he can make a dent back in King Luke, who overtook him on the last lap. Is he able to fight back this lap with the aid of DRS? He has to use the DRS zone here to just get close and then stick to the rear wing of that Haas through this sector. And then hopefully get the power down and get the place retaken. So just on board with CPL, as I said, and it's a good exit from the pair, but the Haas getting the better drive. So I don't know if he's going to be able to get him down the straight. The Haas looks very quick in a straight line. Yeah, he's not going to make a dent on him in this line, as he runs deep. He runs very deep in the Alpine, does CPL, and that'll put the pair behind on him, as Dan does get past Lewis down the back straight, and WXX is on the back of them for company. So just a little bit of a lull in proceedings, but we got WXX sweeping round the S's section of the track, and now he's going to prepare his car to attack down the DRS straight, as we have contact with Mrs. P and Kofi, maybe. Not sure what has happened there. Not sure. Maybe contact, maybe not. But CPL is past King Luke. Is WXX going to be able to get past F1 Lewis? So we have 3 cars remaining on the mediums. We lost Levi Hughes on lap 2. But the McLaren, look at this, as we got an Alpine without a rear wing. So the Alpine without the rear wing of CPL probably should yield. We'll skip forward. So what has happened there? And behind we got CPL, we got King Luke coming back, we got Lewis overtaking the McLaren. So all happening as CPL has to box for a new wing. Go on board with WXX, trying the look on the inside of the Aston and getting the move done. That was a real late lunge there, but sensible from Lewis, not turn in, just seen him coming, I think, and was sort of forced into yielding. Otherwise he'd have taken them both off the racetrack. So we're going to go on board with Enderupt, who, because of that, is now all over the back of the Aston of Lewis. Mrs. Poe in boxes, so maybe there was some damage to Mrs. P's car. Paul very strong on hards. Podiums up for grab with drivers out. Quick drivers out. I agree, Brett. What is this camera angle? So Ender up just coming down the back straight as the Aston, a bit of a DRS train here, you feel. We'll go on board with WXX. Can he make a move? He's going for the lunge. So lunge, and there's contact. WXX just slinging his car and relying on other cars to get out the way. Very feisty driving from WXX. So the next car up the road for him is King Luke. So as WXX is out, that shouldn't really come as a surprise as a safety car comes out. He was throwing his car around a little bit, in my opinion. I wouldn't have liked to have been on the receiving end of one of those moves. I think it was the one on Lewis where you were basically forced to get out of the way. But that's racing, but sadly WXX is departing the race as the safety car comes out. So that'll be a cheap pit stop for Harvey if he wants to take it. It'll be a very cheap pit stop for Harvey, a cheap pit stop as well for the other medium runners. So the race, yeah, Harvey has to go to the hards. This is his chance. So we'll go on board with Harvey, see what he does. He has to box, in my opinion. And he's boxing. But Paul covering him off. And Paul going on to a two-stopper. Paul covering him off and playing the track position game. So what tyres is Paul putting on? Paul is on the mediums. Can he make those mediums last 20 laps as King Luke takes the track position? What do you reckon, Brett? Can mediums last 20 laps around here? As Pro Beast in the Ferrari up into P4. I wish he was in P1. So King Luke, Eyeball Paul, Harvey, Pro Beast, the captain, Dan, Ufrl, Enderupt, L Grey, CPL, Coffee, Sciencey, and Mrs. Poem. That makes a bit more sense. Right, okay. The cats, Zach, the cat gift man will know your struggle there. Yeah. So, just waiting for the bit. Just waiting for the race to bunch up. Sorry, just waiting for the field to bunch up. So, Mrs. Poem should catch up by the end of the next tour of this Miami circuit. And we should probably go racing for lap 11 as left my door open. Yeah, cats will find their way in through an open door, that is for sure. But yeah, Eyeball Paul had to react there. If he didn't react, he was giving Harvey a free stop. And Pro Beast playing the long game. So third distance, guys. Who's your predictions now? Yeah, Viva F1 FIFA says Paul needs Beast to hold up Harvey. Yes, he does. Needs to. Paul for the win, fastest here, says Ryan. Rayan Sid, may have pronounced that awfully, apologies if I have. You say that, but Paul's got to make his medium tyres last 20 laps. Mr. Poem saying eyeball Paul. He's going to bank on softs at the end. Yeah, he is, but Harvey won't have to box again. A lot of it will be the pit if he can get enough of a window. A lot of it is whether he can get enough of a window to slap on the softs and hunt Harvey down. But there's a long race ahead. Anything can happen, as proven on lap 27 of the race that will not be named. Cough last night. Cough. Lewis is in the hunt for a podium as well. He sure is, as Mrs. Poem has now caught up to the field. So we're going to go racing after this lap. We'll go on board with Eyeball Paul. So how far can the hard tyre runners run the... Sorry, how far can the hard tyres runners run into this race? I am focusing on tonight, Brett, don't worry. Don't worry. Whilst the chat's active, thought I'd send in another cheap plug for you guys. So we should be in the phase of going through the want to be getting the tyre temperatures up to speed, because we are probably going to be going racing unless EA decides we're not at the end of this lap. Safety car is in this lap, so there you have it. So just approaching the back straight as the safety car enters the pits. When will King Luke pull the trigger and go for it? He's gone. King Luke has gone for it, and the Red Bull sticking to him. Can Paul get the move done? The AlphaTauri doesn't get past the Ferrari, so can Eyeball Paul get the move done? It's critical for the AlphaTauri behind Harvey, who has cleared the Ferrari. He's cleared Pro B, so Harvey into P3. Is the Ferrari going to come back at him? No. So the AlphaTauri of Harvey into P3. And we have yellow flags, and the captain and Lewis are out the race. Captain and Lewis are out the race. Beast overtook under safety car. I missed that. But send your clips if you have it. The driver involved, as King Luke loses position to Eyeball Paul. So can the AlphaTauri of Harvey clear Eyeball Paul? Clear King Luke as well? Or is King Luke going to be a bit of a moving chicane as the safety car is out? So don't know what I'm talking about. So then there were 11 runners and riders remaining. And we're back under safety car conditions. So, King Luke is boxing. But this safety car will actually work out quite nicely for Harvey, because it'll just bunch him up to eyeball pole again. And Pro Beast waiting in the wings in P3. King Luke boxing. We'll go back to the grid with the grid bunching up. So we lost Captain Gadeve, Ufrl, Lewis, WXX in a double McLaren DNF. We've also lost, I think, double Astons of Levi and Lewis, and we've lost Ray in the Alpha. As Enderupt is in the Discord apologising for contact, so maybe there's a bit of a chain reaction there. So hopefully safety car will come in this lap. So we are 13 laps in, approaching half distance. I wonder if Pro Beast is thinking he's got to go hard softs. Massive points on offer for any team that can get both cars across the line today. Yes, a battle of attrition, it would seem. So, eyeball pole leading us round, as the safety car is going to do another lap. I didn't think I seen a notification. No need for it to be doing another lap. It's all the cars are bunched up. Let's go racing. As Dan pits, so Dan pits in the sister hat. What Stan's thinking here is, he going to go on the hard tyres, going back onto the old hards, going to try and squeak them. As Pro Beast needs to stop going into AI, apparently under the safety car. So hopefully we should be going back racing after this lap. Ferrari's just finish, even if it's 10 laps down, implores Brett. Brett wanting championship points for the constructors after his win in Imola and ARC Mickey winning last night for the tier 2 guys. Ferrari have maybe F1 Pro Beast can get a third Ferrari win of the season. Got a long way to go to beat Harvey and eyeball pole, though, I feel. But Sciency as well is on 12 lap hold hards. Gray, a safety car is in this lap, as Gray and Kofi have 13 lap hold hard, as does Pro Beast. So sooner or later these hards are going to fall away, as WXX has just seen the point scoring system. So the safety car is in. When will, and eyeball pole's caught Harvey napping there, and he is on the faster tyre. And with those safety car laps, will eyeball pole even need to go onto the soft tyres, or can he get those mediums over the line? So 11 runners and riders remaining. Ufrl stretching out his lead, so we'll leave that. We'll go on board with Enderupt, who is chasing down the Ferrari, and we'll go back one more because CPL is chasing down Enderupt. So CPL, a bit of a train here from the Ferrari down. As King Luke passes Mrs. Poem. But is Enderupt going to be able to get past the Ferrari? They go side by side into the hairpin. The Ferrari has the high ground. But Enderupt trying to put it all the way as the Ferrari spun. The Ferrari's out. Was there contact? Pro Beast is out of the race, and that is going to trot out for the third time this race. The safety car. As the safety car is there, and it does pick up the leaders. Does it? No, it doesn't. Looking, I was on board with the wrong car. So, not sure what happened with Pro Beast, whether he just spun out or whether he got clipped on the back end there. And we're down to another safety car. So, then there were 13 laps remaining. Paul may be able to finish on mediums now, yeah. Yeah, it's just going to be how finished they are. Yeah, we head to Singapore next week. Thank you to whoever followed, I did miss that. So, thank you to Ryan, or Rayan Sid, for following. Not sure why it didn't flash up on the old screen, but there we are. CPL pits, as does Coffee and Sciencey and King Luke. So, a few cars pitting. What tyres are they going to be going on to? Some of these guys will get the cheap stop and go on to the mediums, no doubt. So everyone going back onto their hard tyres apart from Sergeant Kofi. And I'm just trundling behind the safety car as the pit stops are made. So Sciencey on 1 lap hold mediums, Kofi on 0 laps, the first lap. They'll definitely be going to the end of the Grand Prix. Eyeball Pole should have shitted even, should have pitted, says Mr. Poem. Only gonna go 7 more max, what, even behind the safety car? I don't know how you redeem these poles you're suggesting, Mr. Poem. I'm not sure how to do it. Well, it's not like that. I thought that might be how you do it. Never mind. I don't know how to. I'll have to look it up for the next race. But we have the field is starting to bunch up as the Ferrari of El Grey boxes. So, will they be going on to the medium tyres? 11 race laps remaining, yeah. Fire Shuddy, says Mr. Poem. Yes. So, Eyeball Paul, Harvey, Enderupt, Dan, Coffee, Signsy, CPL, Mrs. P, King Luke, and L Grey are your cards, with the leader on the mediums, and Kofi and Signsy on the mediums, and L Grey joining them on the medium tyre. Another time for an ad whilst we got a lull. If you're interested in spaces in any of our tiers, the tiers that have spaces, I believe tier 2 does if you qualify for that based on your pace. Maybe tier 3 and 4 have space as well. But more our Saturday tiers. Check warnings please, says unfitted noise. So yeah, if you're interested in our Saturday tiers, I'm not sure how you do that, unfitted noise. If you're interested in our Saturday tiers, please reach out in the server. So we're going to be going green at the end of this lap. So I ain't even cheered for Mrs. P yet, says Mr. Poem. As the AlphaTauri getting very close to Eyeball Paul. Won't want to be caught napping again. But Eyeball Paul is able to just pull away quite quickly on those mediums. But Signsy all over the back here of Sergeant Kofi. But thinks better of sending her up the inside. So keep your eyes on the times. I'll keep my eye on the times at the front. But I will stay with this battle. In fact, I'll skip down to King Luke, who is reeling in Mrs. P. They're on the 14 lap old medium tyres. He'll have to take them another 10 laps. They'll be screaming at him. But Eyeball Paul is gliding out of DRS range. As King makes a move, and Mrs. P gives the space, but El Grey now onto the back of Mrs. P as well. Nothing doing there. So it'll all be about this straight, as the lead is already 1.6 from the medium to the hards. But can Harvey start to reel that back in as we're on board with El Grey having a look at the Alfa Romeo Italian flagged rear wing of Mrs. Poem. Will El Grey have a look, thinks better of it, will come away from that battle, and will hop on board with Signsy, who is hunting down the Williams of Kofi. Has a little look up the inside, more of a dummy, and Kofi locks up, and Signsy is going to take that position now. So you could say Signsy set him up there with the dummy, and he's through. So we'll go back on board with Mrs. P, who El Grey has got past. So we will come away from that and we'll go on board with CPL. What's happening here after this restart? CPL having a look up the inside of Kofi now. If we go through the fake Baku section, as Mr. P calls it. Tightening right-hander. And interrupters. Oh no, there's contact. CPL is out the race with Kofi. Oh no. And the safety car is out again. And look at the damage there to CPL. I'll clip that on the stream. So the safety car is out. And Eyeball Paul is in a great spot now to take those mediums to the end of the race. So we have 9 remaining as Dan gets a time penalty. Will some people dive into the window now and put on the soft tyre? That's what I would be doing. I'd be going straight in, putting on the soft tyre. We have 2 pitting as Dan's done exactly that. I mean, imagine King Luke's going to do the same. So, 9 cars remaining. CPL was just a bit of a sitting duck there after Kofi spin. There's not a lot CPL could have done. Well, maybe he could have. Oh, there's contact. There's contact between the AlphaTauri and the Red Bull. What on earth has happened there? He's going to have to. Harvey's going to have to box for a new rear wing there, no doubt. Yeah, there you have it. Yeah, unlucky CPL. I believe Jennings is CPL. Unlucky, yeah. So, the AlphaTauri just rear-ended the Red Bull, and that could have been disastrous for both parties, but Harvey will box and will put on the soft tyres now. But will other people follow him into the pit lane? The answer is no. No one else going for it. Who's that coming in through the background? Mrs. P coming in for soft tyres as well. People playing the track position game. Yeah, John, it's just too close under the safety car. There's no need to be that close. Like, just literally bunch up before you go racing. Like, otherwise you trip over each other. That's my opinion on safety cars, anyway. So we got 4 people on the softs, which are Dan, King Luke, Harvey, Mrs. P, Kofi, El Grey, Sainzy. Sorry. Kofi, El Great, Sainzy and Eyeball Paul are on the mediums, and Enderupt is on the hard. I'm amazed more people ain't gone on to the softs. I was expecting the whole field to come in for the soft tyre then. Pretty much. But Eyeball Paul is sort of... Eyeball Paul and Enderupt are sort of between a rock and a hard place in terms of strategy. They had to stay out. They've got the track position. But everyone else is sort of a free hit to try and sneak onto the podium. I can't see how Enderupt is going to be able to cling on to P2 from here, as the safety car should come in this lap. So we have 7 racing laps remaining. I think it's going to go round again, you know. Safety car, I've not seen it say safety car is in this lap. So, will anyone go for a late box? Who's that boxing? Someone else has had a change of mind. And that is El Grey boxing for some softs, I believe. Trouble with doing it this late is you risk it starting without you. So we're going to have 5 people on the softs now, and then 3 on the mediums and 1 on the hard tyre. Sainsy was very quick last week. I think Sainsy should have been one of the first ones to box for softs. Sainsy and Kofi should have boxed, because they're in sort of no man's land. They're the ones in no man's land, because they'll be the ones defending from behind as well as trying to attack ahead, because all the people behind are going to be on the fresher, grippiest compound tyre. So we have 6 laps remaining. 5. Hopefully they'll all be racing lap. Yeah, no, that's true, Brett. If he can get past, safety car is in this lap. So we're going to be going racing at the end of this lap. And look how close they are at the front again. The Williams have ended up very close to the back axles of the Red Bull. So Eyeball Paul has got away beautifully. Look at that, 1.3 ahead. Caught him napping. And Enderupt is a bit of a sitting duck, as Sainsy is going to come steaming around the outside. No, he's not. Is he going to get him on the switchback? We'll stay on board with this battle. But look at the softs of Dan and King Luke getting punchy in the midfield. So on board with Dan. It's Kofi just holding him off. 2 seconds the lead already for Eyeball Paul. Paul has gone. So, the 2 Hasses, they can work together here, you feel? There's a Mercedes ahead, and there's contact there between the Mercedes, there's Kofi gets through. What's happened there? Sainsy with end plate damage, or is that Enderupt? So, it's Sainsy with end plate damage. But the 2 Hasses falling out of the DRS range of the Mercedes. Will Sainsy just stay out at this point? I think he'll have to stay out. As those medium tyres heating up much quicker than Enderupt's hards. And his ways, we have Mrs. P overtaking Kofi, as Kofi does have to box. So Kofi is boxed. We have 4 laps remaining. So we'll go on board with Dan, who is trying to reel in the Merc of Sainsy. What's Dan's time penalties? 5 seconds for Dan and 5 seconds for Kofi. As Sainsy runs wide and ghosting. Sainsy's ghosting. Sainsy could be out of the race. What's happened there? Sainsy ran really wide with that wing damage, I guess. And Dan is into P3. The Hasses will be chasing down for a double podium here. They'll be chasing down Enderupt. They've got to make up 2.4 seconds in 4 laps. I think Eyeball Paul, as long as he keeps it on the track, has got this in the bag now. But they'll be trying to target Enderupt. They can work together here and pull themselves down the straight. Yeah, Dan has a penalty, yeah. think he can tow him down the straight. Will they work together though? Yeah, Dan has a 5-second penalty. DRS is enabled. Haas is no team orders at Haas, it would seem. Gunther is saying we look like a bunch of idiots on the mic. Why is he not letting his teammate through? We'll come away from that battle and we'll go on board with El Grey and Mrs. P. But Dan has closed the gap to 1.4 for Enderupt, so maybe these two are thinking they can clear Enderupt and both get the 5 seconds required. It's a big ask, but we will see. So we're going to leave that battle and come back on board with Harvey, who is going to be approaching the sister Haas. And he's going to glide past the Haas. Look at that. Other I thought he was going to glide past the Haas. Will he get the move done? The Haas just stays ahead. That proved me wrong. And he's clipped the wall there. Looked like he's just about to glide past that Haas. So 4.6 now as Paul extends his lead. But Enderupt is being caught at a rate of knots by these guys. He's not going to be too close. Brett says surely damage as Harvey is through on King Luke. And King Luke coming back at him. Contact. Side by side. Good racing so far from the pair as Harvey runs wide. There's contact. That's got a bit messy. Neither guy willing to give an inch. But Harvey is through and they've chucked away a podium in my opinion. Luke should have been let through by Dan and Dan could have held up Harvey and they would have got a podium, and because they're both going to catch the what will be 20 lap old medium runners. The rear wing open for Dan on Enderupt. So 5 seconds the lead for Eyeball Paul. And that rear wing should open up now, and he should... No, he's out of DRS zone. My apologies. So the gap is just over a second, 1.1. So he's actually losing time down the main straight to Enderupt. So King Luke coming back at the AlphaTauris. We're on the penultimate lap now. So just half a second away from the AlphaTauri. So we will just stay with this battle as it is the closest one on track. And go on board with King Luke as Sainz puts in the fastest lap of the race. Excuse me as I yawn. So, 0.5, we have a yellow flag. Who is out? What has happened to Sergeant Kofi? Recovering his car. No front wing. But Enderupt is going to cling on to P3 here, and Haas, in my opinion, had a bit of a blunder. They should have let Luke through to have a go because he's the one without the penalties, but the soft tyres are fading away here. 7 lap old softs. As we enter the final lap of the race, Ivor Paul As Mrs. P is through on Luke Gray. What's happened to El Grey? Off the track. Massively off the track. What has happened there? So on board with Eyeball Paul, but we're going to come away as King Luke is reeled back in the AlphaTauri. And he's going to get the advantage of DRS down through the fake Baku section, as Mr. P calls it. That AlphaTauri looks very quick though in a straight line. And it's just about staying as close as he can here. Can he get the drive to get himself into P4, maybe even a net P3, because Harvey's going to take the podium at the minute. Is he going to get the move done? He's closing on him. But we're going to come away and watch Eyeball Paul come across the line. And Eyeball Paul wins in Miami. As King Luke and Dan doesn't serve his penalty. So Dan, a 5-second penalty will see him drop down to P5 as Harvey takes P3. King Luke takes P4. Mrs. P takes P6. El Grey P7. As long as they finish, I'm getting ahead of myself. El Grey is going to come across the line in P7. Sainzy is going to take P8. And Kofi is going to come across the line for eventually for what's happened to Sainzy? Is Sainzy not finished? So Kofi's just coming across the back section of the track without his rear wing, without his front wing rather, and he's going to come across the line now. So there you have it. Your race winner is Eyeball Paul. All this talk about should he have pitted early on, he didn't need to worry about it because he had so much pace on that last stint of the safety car. And Eyeball Paul is your winner. Ender up will be P2 on the very old hard tyres, and P3 goes to Harvey. So I will just make sure and get a picture of that. Right, so thank you for watching. We will see you tomorrow where I will be competing at Tier 4 of Miami. And remember, if you want seats for the international tiers at the weekend, get in contact. But thank you for watching.